Well, Swan Falls Family Dentistry over in Kuna. He's a Boise State alumni, so I'll let him take it away about his story.
Hey guys, how you guys all doing? Good. All right, thumbs up. I can see it. So you all can hear me pretty good. You good? All right, right on. I apologize if you see little kids come in through that door. They might be peeking on me once in a while. So, all right. So I'm Paul Blaisdell. Nice to meet you. Boise State class of 2014. Went to Boise State, graduated with a bachelor's in health science with a science emphasis, and then to do the Idaho Dental Education or IDEP program, where we did 1 year at Idaho State, followed by 3 great years at Creighton University. So if you've ever heard of Creighton, they're the ones that are playing in the tournament right now. They're up by 15 at halftime, so they're doing great. Anyway, yeah, so I went to Creighton, and I'm from the Boise area. I was born and raised in Caldwell, just down the road, and I decided I wanted to come back to the Valley. I love it here, and I was offered a job. I'm an associate dentist right now, so that means I work for someone. I'm just an employee dentist, which is kind of cool. You know, go to work, do some dentistry, come home, and don't have to worry about any of that business stuff yet. One day I want to do that, and one day I want to take on that level of crazy. So hopefully it'll be soon. Anyway, yeah, I'm out here working in Kuna. I work 5 days a week, sometimes 4 days. I sub in at some other offices occasionally, and I'm a general dentist, so get to do a little bit of everything. I'm married. I got 4 kids, and we had all of our kids during school, so that was kind of wild, but wouldn't have it any other way. It was still fun. I was able to make it. So if I can make it through school with kids, I know anyone can do it for sure. So yeah, as far as dentistry goes, I was born and raised in a family of dentists. My dad's a dentist, my brother, I got cousins, uncles. I'm the 10th one. So it's nothing really new in my family, but it's been awesome. It's a blessing having someone to at least talk to, communicate to. So even if you don't have family members in dentistry, that's okay. It's not a big issue. I hope that as a fellow Boise State alumni, you guys can always rely on me anytime you ever need anything. Happy to help. So that's kind of my story, just a very basic in a nutshell. If anytime you guys have questions, please I can see all of you above there, it looks like. So just raise the hands up, or feel free to jump in and ask me if you need anything. So let's see. I guess I'll start with my time at Boise State. I decided to do a health science degree because it crossed off everything I needed for school, and especially the science emphasis. I didn't want to do a biology degree because I was so bad at the botany portion of general bio, like trees and all that. I did not want anything to do with that anymore. So the health science emphasis, I got a chance to do not necessarily traditional research, but you have your statistics courses and your health science statistics courses that you can take, and that gives you a good introduction to research, how it's done. Some schools are a little bit more research focused, so it helps to know what dental school you're wanting to go to. It helps to know what their emphasis are. Some of them like research, some of them like things like community service. Some of them are really big on shadowing dentists. It just kind of depends. Every dental school is different, and so that's why I would heavily suggest that you rely on your academic advisors. If you have a school in mind that you want to go to, and they tell you Boise State students don't typically get in there, I mean, you really want to go there, go for it. But they know what they're talking about. So so take that for what it's worth. They've seen a lot of students do it. They know kind of the tried and true method of what to do. So rely on those academic advisors. While I was in school at Boise State, normally I have a slideshow presentation. So I'm sorry you have to look at my mug this whole time. I just realized I don't have anything to it's not on my computer. It's at my work computer. Otherwise, I would share it with you. As for my time at Boise State, I tutored. I know Spanish, so I was able to do Spanish tutoring. But the thing that helped me the most is I got in tutoring the athletes, and that was super helpful. Doing math and science, yeah, it's definitely helpful, because at that level, if you can teach something, you know the concept pretty darn well. So I was teaching Gen Chem, OChem, general bio, and a little bit of math, not a lot. I didn't feel super comfortable in that, but that was super beneficial, because not only was I getting paid, I was also ensuring what I'm learning, so that I could get ready for the DAT. So, any questions so far? Anything at all? Nothing?
I have a question, if you don't mind sharing
Yeah.
your undergraduate GPA when you were applying to dental school.
Oh, yeah, yeah, of course. I had a 3, because it switched between science, right? Isn't there a science GPA and a general?
I think there is.
Yep.
I think
There's 2.
yeah. There's 2, right? So I had a 3.8 overall GPA, but I had a 3.5 in science. I think I'd have to double check that. I know I graduated at least 3.5, but I want to say it was a 3. One of them was a 3.8. And a lot of that was those A's in those Spanish classes that I got. That helped. I served a mission in Mexico for my church, and so I was able to learn Spanish there, and it helped a lot. So that was my GPA, and then my DAT score, I got I got a 21 on the perceptual ability, and I got a 19 on the sciences. My worst score in sciences was a 17 in anatomy, or biology, I should say. And a lot of that is because I had not taken anatomy prior to taking the DAT, because it wasn't it wasn't a prereq for the DAT, and I also didn't want it to mess with my GPA while I was really scared of anatomy, because I didn't want it to mess with my GPA too much while I was applying to school. But I took it my senior year, after I had applied to school and did all that. So that was my biggest weakness, was biology. And I specifically remember the anatomy questions kicking my butt a little bit on that DAT. I did, as for DAT preparation, I did the Kaplan course, the online course, but I also did the private tutoring. I had to go down to Salt Lake for a few weeks in a row to meet with a private tutor down there. I thought that was super helpful. He and I identified my weaknesses and where I needed to improve. He gave me great study habits and study and how to prepare for the DAT. And overall, just my test taking abilities were enhanced by the Kaplan course. Because when you're taking that DAT, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, and you got to be mentally ready for that. And I wish I could tell you it ends there, but it doesn't, because you're going to have to go take written boards in dental school, and it's a lot more expensive. It's a lot harder. But training your mind and training your body to be able to study for those big, long exams, it's something that's going to benefit you now while you're getting into dental school, and certainly while you are in school. But so yeah, that's kind of where I laid out on my statistics. As for my applications, I applied to 11 schools. I got interviews at 4 schools and got accepted at schools. So I always wanted to have my options open. I'll be the first to tell you that Omaha, Nebraska was at the top of my list, just because, you look at a map, it's in the center of the United States. Man, I can't tell you how wrong I was. Creighton University is amazing. I had an amazing experience. You would be very hard pressed to find me saying anything negative about Creighton or Omaha. They're both amazing. They're fantastic for their own reasons. We'll get into that a little bit later. Accepted at Creighton and at Louisville and at Roseman in Utah, that private school. So and the last interview that I had was at Oregon at OHSU. So yeah, that's how I decided to go to Creighton. I had originally decided to go to Louisville, and then I got accepted into the IDEP program a little bit later. So I'm pretty sure I was on the alternate list to get in there, but that's okay. I got in. That's fine. Nothing wrong with alternate lists, guys. It's all right as long as you're in, right? So I got into Creighton, and I got the phone call, and I just thought, holy cow. So then the next step was obviously talking to my wife, and we felt it was important to look at the tuition costs. And because I'm an Idaho resident, the IDEP program gives you a significant scholarship, and you get to live in Pocatello for a year, which is, I know it doesn't sound amazing, but it is beneficial. Just you and 7 other students get to live there and be taught pretty much just you go into some bigger classes now and again, but a lot of your dental focuses is just you and 7 others. So you get a lot of time and attention to really learn a lot of stuff. It's a great experience. But like I said, scholarship money helped out a lot. So some of you probably have experience in student debt, but being in school, man, it doesn't really hit you until you get that first student loan bill that comes in the mail. It's definitely real. And when you multiply that significantly in dental school, I would advise that when you're making your decision, living in Southern California sounds amazing and it would be great. But if you have your options, definitely take a look at cost of tuition and things, because it adds up more than you know, especially in my case where I had a family and I had to take out max loans to be able to support them. So yeah, and I'm an open book about any of that stuff. I'm fine with answering any questions about dental school, because I wish that someone was able to do that for me. Give me one second. I'm going to open some blinds in here and kind of lighten up this room a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. All right. Questions, you guys? Nothing, huh? Just want me
Could
to
you,
keep talking?
if you're okay with talking about it, could you kind of give an idea of roughly like where you kind of ended and how much student debt you had?
Yeah. Right now, so when you're going in school, your student loans are accruing interest, even when you're not paying them. So at least in dental school. So you got 4 years of interest coming your way. As an IDEP student, I want to say about 40% of my tuition was covered by the state of Idaho, something around there. Creighton, I believe, is close to $80,000 a year. At least when I went, it's more now. They got a big fancy school they got to pay for, but it's beautiful and it's super cool. So yeah, and the tuition just kept going up each year. As it stands this moment right now, with my scholarship and taking max loans, I'm sitting at 280,000, and that's I refinanced too. So when you're originally in school, the government loan that they give you is like 6% interest, and it's rough. The one that they give you going into school. So when I got out, you have flex plan payments to make, so you can do like a pay as you go thing where you're just paying. You only have to pay like a couple $100 a month. So it helps you get on your feet. It's definitely beneficial to help you you're getting out of school. But over time, even though you're paying $200, I mean, you're still accruing more interest than you're paying off. So that just adds up. So I wanted to refinance as soon as I could, and I did, and I got a little bit lower rate. They're probably even lower now, with COVID and everything. Everything's lower now. But yeah, right now I'm paying $1,800 a month in student loans. So it's yeah, and most of it's interest. You're paying mostly interest, and it's like 60% interest and 40% principal. So again, take that if you are in state, have in-state residency at any of the other schools that you want to go to. Really look at them and take that into consideration, because that can help you really get ahead in saving as much money as you going forward. Because I mean, eventually, I would imagine a lot of you want to go on and buy your own practice or build your own, or be the boss eventually. The more quickly you can get out of debt, or at least stabilize it and build capital, the more quickly you'll be able to accomplish those goals. So that's what I'm wanting to do right now. Is I love where I work right now, but I've always wanted to be a business owner. I've always wanted to own my own practice. So right now I'm in the process of starting my own and doing a build from scratch practice. So just diving into that hole of more debt, but kind of the game. So I'm looking for playing the long game here. What else you got? Anything?
I have something.
Right.
Dr. Blaisdell.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about how you had a wife and kids, obviously, while you're going through dental school. How was that process for you, kind of balancing schoolwork and like family time?
Yeah. All right. So, I don't mean to discourage anyone when I say this. I knew going into dental school that I did not want to specialize. If you want to be an orthodontist or an oral surgeon, and in some cases a pediatric dentist, you want to go into any specialty like that, you're gonna and endodontist, you're gonna want to graduate near the top of your class. And it's not just clinical stuff. It's everything from day one, from year one of dental school, when you're retaking anatomy and all these classes that you have to retake, the ones that you think that you're done with at Boise State, and you're like, I'm so glad I never have to take that again. Like biochem, no, you have to take it again. Yeah, I didn't realize that when I went to dental school, and I saw biochemistry on I was like, oh my gosh, not again. And I was way over amino acids, man. I hated those things. But back to your question, balancing family life was relatively easier for me than others, because I knew I didn't want to specialize. So and for me, if I want to excel and do well, I have to spend a lot of time studying. We all know those students that can walk into a test having studied for just a couple of days and they get an A, and then you sit there busting your butt, for 2 weeks to get like an A-. And those kids are still in dental school when you go, and you'll see it. So balancing that, I woke up early. I like to exercise, so I got up early. I went to the gym, and then I treated dental school like a job, because it really is. I mean, you're in school from 8 to 5, just about every day. But some days you'd get off a little bit early. You'd have some exams or something, or you get out of clinic. I would still, especially in the first few years when it's very class heavy and you're in the classroom a lot, I would still treat it like a job. Even if we got out early, I would use that time from 8 to 5 to study. So if we got out of class at 3, I'd still stick around the school and just start my study and get that done. Go home 5 o'clock. I had a set time with my family until the kids went to bed, and then I had a set time with my wife until I had to go study some more. So a lot of it was scheduling, discipline, but honestly, more than anything, man, my wife's amazing. I hit the lottery. She was very supportive. I could not have done it without her, and she made a lot of sacrifices just like I did. It was definitely a team effort. So having a real conversation with your significant other and letting them know, hey, this isn't like undergrad. It's not one class. A semester's worth of information at Boise State in one class, it's going to be thrown at you in like 3 weeks. That's what it's like, especially in my case when I did the IDEP program. Your first class, your first introduction to dental school, is 4 weeks intensive human anatomy and physiology, where you are in class from 8 to 5. From 8 to noon, you are in lecture. You take an hour break for lunch, and then you come back and start opening up a cadaver. And that's how your day is for 4 straight weeks, all day, every day. And then when you go home, then you have to study. So it's really just baptism by fire. It just pushes you right over the cliff, and you just jump right into it. And then when I went from POCA, and that's the difference about the IDEP program, is you spend a year in Pocatello and you have to go reacclimate yourself over in Omaha with, I think Creighton's up 120 students now per class. When I went, we was 86 students. Now it's 120 because they have a big brand new building in school that they can house that many students. So you're going to have to go and acclimate yourself to, 112 other students that you've never met. And you have to learn how to study a whole different way, try and get your hands on the test archives, so you can get some practice in there. So a lot of discipline, a lot of just honest conversations with whoever you need to have it with, to let them know, look, this is what I'm doing, this is how it's going to be if we want to succeed. Because if you don't, I mean, you're taking an $80,000 bath. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure you get that priority straight. Because if not, I mean, if you want to go into that much debt, you go for it. But I'd rather come out of it with a degree so that you can use it to earn a good living for yourself. So, right on. What are you guys can holler them out? I'm super interested. Like, what years are some of you? I think I recognize some of you from previous meetings. What years are some of you though in your journey? Yeah, hold up a finger. I like that. Let's see. One more. Oh man, you guys are just. Oh yeah, three. I see a 3 there. Rachel, 3. There you go. Oh, you guys are crunch time. DA application time. For those that, and for the ones, good for you. I hope I'm not scaring you off too much. I'm just gonna be honest, because I had an idea because I had family going into dentistry. I did not know as much as you think about dentistry, even though I come from a family of dentists. I didn't know what I was getting myself into as much. So yeah, hopefully I'm not scaring you guys too much, but it's a blast. It's fun. Rachel and McKenna, the 3s, right? So yeah, start saving that money. I don't know if you guys were in it on the last one. Save that money for applications. They're not cheap, because every time you're going to click a little box on the school that you want to go to, and that it's just going to go up. That price is just going to keep going up for submitting applications. So do that. And then you got to have money left over ready to go trap. Because ideally COVID, it kind of put a damper on things, but ideally you're going to get flown out to do your interviews. And that's so much fun. I can't stress that enough. I can't mention that or stress that enough. I should say that going out and visiting the school, it's awesome. My wife and I took a trip out to Omaha, we got our housing set up and all that stuff. So super beneficial if you can, and hopefully it looks like people are able to travel a little bit. So that's good. Right on. Rachel and McKenna, because you guys are 3s, what are some of the schools that you guys are looking at?
UCLA and UOP are definitely my top.
Okay.
Hopefully somewhere in California, because that's where I'm from.
Okay, so the Southern California thing. Okay, if you're from there, great. That's good. All right. If you're from California, fine. That's fine. I couldn't afford to do that, but that's fantastic. UOP, that's a great school. 3-year school, only 3-year school in the country. My brother and my uncle went there. I applied, but you needed to have like at least when I applied, they said if you didn't have like a 23 on the DAT, they didn't even look at you. So yeah. I even had the connections, if you will, and I didn't get a sniff. So that's all good. So yeah, go for it. If you can do it, go for it, because yeah, it's 3 years and the tuition's more expensive, but it kind of evens out compared to a 4-year school.
Yeah. I also like the pass and fail for UCLA. I think that's my top school right now.
Oh, okay. Right on. That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. UCLA. A couple of my professors at Creighton, they actually, they did their residencies, their pros residencies at UCLA. They loved it there. That's a great one. Mm-hmm. So what about you, Rachel? What schools are you looking at?
So I'm also from Idaho. So I mean, the IDEP is definitely one. Woohoo. And then I was thinking about Utah. I don't know. I was thinking about UW, but I'm not quite sure. But yeah.
Okay.
There's not many options when you're
That's
from
hey,
Idaho, but you want
it's
cheap
true. It's true. But and it sounds like you're kind of like in the Northwest, kind of wanting to stick close to home.
Yeah.
Omaha's a super easy flight. You fly Denver, you fly Omaha. It's super easy to get to. But yeah, go if you can go for the IDEP program. It's fabulous. You'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. So if you get an interview or anything there, please let me know so I can. And this goes for any of you. Whenever you have questions, if you need shadowing hours for your applications, I love having Boise State students out. That's been out. He's seen some he sees some fun. I like to bring you out for fun procedures. I don't want you to come out and see me clean a kid's teeth. That's whatever. But like implants or endodontics or pulling third molars, doing wisdom teeth. Yeah, those are my favorite things to do. Absolutely. And that's a big reason why I became a general dentist. Is I love doing root canals and I love pulling, but I was done with school. I didn't have it in me to specialize. But most of all, I like picking and choosing whatever I want to do. As a general dentist, I can do as much or as little as I want. So, yeah, let's see how I'm really bad with Zoom. I sound like an old man when I say this, but I am really bad with Zoom. So let me see if I can find and share a photo that I took for you guys today when I was there. Let me pull this up. I'm in the Photos app. It's not letting me, dang it. All right, I'll work on that while I keep talking. Anyway, today I had a guy come in and we were able to place an implant on him, and then we pulled a tooth so that he could get an implant later on. So let me pull up these photos for you and put them on the desktop, and then I think I'll be able to pull them up on here. Anyway, so we pulled the tooth here and the implant. He had been missing one of the teeth for a couple of years now, and then the other one, we thought about placing an implant in there. Like the same day that we pulled his front tooth out that was broken and fractured was the same. We were going to put the implant or put the screw into his bone the same day. It's a really fun procedure, and it helps patients because after you place an implant in someone's jaw, you typically have to wait for it to what's called osseointegration. It has to kind of grow into the bone. So whenever you're messing with bone, whenever you're messing with someone's bone, you're going to activate osteoclasts, osteoblasts, and they're going to break down and build and conform to that new object that is invading their space. So when that happens, yeah, the implant, it just takes a couple months. And then once it's locked in there and it's torqued in there and it's not moving anymore, then you get to do the fun things like put a crown on it. And it's a great way for people to, to save their teeth. And here we go. So this is an X-ray after we placed the implant. Let's see if it's I'm putting it in the chat and it's loading. And then this is what it looked like in his mouth when everything was said and done. So I'm not sure if can you guys open those links? Nothing?
Have
Seth,
you
are you
tried?
seeing that, man?
No. Have you tried sharing your screen?
No, I have not tried sharing my screen. Let me see if I can I do that? Because I have to be like a host to do that, or can you give me permission to do that?
It should. You're a co-host.
Okay, here, let's do that. Oh, okay, sounds good. I found the share screen button. Man, you guys probably know how to navigate through Zoom so well. Luckily, in dentistry, we've been open this whole time. We never had to shut down. It's been fantastic. All right. Are you seeing that?
Yep.
All right. I know. I know. If you're in here and you want to be a dentist, I mean, that's what you're going to look at. So you can see that little metal knob. That's the top of the implant that we placed, right? And so we just put a hole in his bone and drilled that thing in. And then the other part where it is kind of stitched up. So we pulled the tooth, and rather than place the implant today, we did what's called a bone graft. So we took some cadaver bone and placed it into the socket, and they were able to, then we were able to cover it with a collagen and do a stitch. And and put it in there, and then you're set. And so that's going to sit in there. And it's going to grow into his bone. Shannon, I see you grimacing. I'm sorry. I should have given you a warning. My bad. I'm so sorry.
I'm an academic
Here,
advisor, so yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, did
I
you
know, it's
ask
so
anybody
bad.
if they were students?
I should have given you that. I should have given you the warning. I meant to actually hit for the X-ray, but that was the one that popped up. So let me see if the X-ray shows up now.
Well, I think everyone else in here almost everybody wants to be a dentist, so they probably thought that was pretty cool. So I think it's okay.
Well, that's definitely the fun stuff that you get. So here, this is what the X-ray looked like. So you can see and it's kind of a funky angle. I promise I'm not that close to the tooth. I'm a decent distance. It's just the angle of the X-ray, but you can see the threads going in there. That thing was locked in super tight. And so the whole reason you have to take physics in dental school, you probably ask yourself that if any of you have taken it yet, you have to take physics for a prereq because you got to learn about things like forces and torque and angles of pressure. And that's all implants are. I mean, you're putting that screw in at a certain angle and you have to let it grow into the bone or let the bone grow around those threads so it'll lock it in. And then you have to wait and you have to get it to a certain torque so that you can actually put the crown on that. You're going to twist the crown into that little chamber, that hollow chamber that you see. I'm literally going to screw a tooth into their mouth. And then it's going to look gorgeous. It's going to look fabulous. So, and that's all the ceramics. That's not anything for me, but yeah, it's a fun experience. And there's guys that, you know, you can go to dental school